Susan Cingari here with Daniel Big Kansas Gallemore, who will be defending his title at VFC 57 on Friday, May 5th in Topeka, Kansas. Daniel, welcome to the Must Love MMA show, and how are you today?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good. Is it cold out there today?
No, it's a little breezy. I guess for Colorado it's not cold. I think it's 60 degrees and sunny, but there's a little bit of a breeze. I think there's a storm moving in, but it's not too bad. Yesterday was really nice, but today's not too bad.
One of my favorite places in the U.S. to have lived. I lived in Colorado Springs and worked at KRDO a long time ago. Anyway, let's get right to it. Your fight takes place in your home state of Kansas. How does this motivate you?
It's motivating because, I guess the pressure's on me to perform. So that in itself is motivating because I don't want to let anybody down. Everybody I know is going to be there. So I guess that's the motivational factor. I was coming up as an amateur. I was usually out of town. So I didn't have that, which was okay. It was kind of nice as an amateur, honestly, because I didn't have that added pressure. But when that cage door shuts, it's kind of a different world, I guess. Like a different, I don't want to say different personality, but it's not the same. Like nothing else matters at that time. So
okay,
that's not a huge deal.
You have 5 wins by TKO. Will you look to keep the fight standing then?
Yeah, that's the plan. That's almost always the plan. I'm not bad on my back, but let's be honest. As far as marketing and excitement goes, the majority of the crowd doesn't appreciate wrestling and jiu-jitsu. They want to see heavyweights knock each other's heads off. So be it.
Yeah. Sadly, I find that people who don't really understand the sport are always booing in a wrestling or when they're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It does take away from the fact that there are other disciplines. But I agree with you. The striking is definitely the most exciting part of MMA, and I think that's what people see, two people slugging it out. That's what they want to see, and that brings in the fans. How do you think you match up with your opponent?
He's a striker. He's really unorthodox. I'm pretty unorthodox. I don't show it a lot in fights, more so in training, I guess. But I'm definitely capable of being more unorthodox. And I've got some really good training partners out here that mix things up really well and are similar size. I'm friends with Travis Browne, who's one of the most dangerous strikers in the heavyweight division. So I think we match up well. I've never been knocked out by a person. I've come close a couple times. It doesn't go wrong. I'm not gonna lie, but I've never been put away by a person. So I like the matchup because I think it favors me in that aspect. I'm the slightly larger opponent, and it's a square cage.
You just mentioned that you train with Travis Browne. Talk to me a little bit about how that has helped you. You guys are both friends, right?
Yeah. We're pretty good buddies, I think. It's helped immensely. I first trained with him before the Stephen Struve fight. That's when we met. They brought me out as a training partner out to Alliance. So it was. I can't remember if I was pro at the time or not, but if I was pro, it was super early in my pro career. I was out there training with Travis and Alex Gustafsson and Phil Davis. Dom Cruz. I was training with Dom. He's so smaller, but Dom was out there and Ross Pearson and excellent training partners. Joey Beltran. It was great. And then when Travis changed to Jackson's, he brought me down there as well. So then I got to train with everybody who's who at Jackson's. Everybody knows John Jones was there, Holly Holm was there, like Greg Jackson himself, and all those guys. So I got to train there some too. We're staying in the gym. So I was really fortunate to work with a lot of really good coaches, as well as my coaches back home. I don't want to take anything away from them, but Travis has definitely helped me open some doors and see perspective from different camps and some of the top-notch training before I was even known. I was just a little amateur.
Is Travis coming out to help you with this fight then?
I think so. I talked to him day before yesterday. I don't remember.
Cool.
But he's on a trip right now, and then he offered to come out when he gets back from his trip to help out for the last week and a half of my camp. So we'll see what happens.
Speaking of your camp, your home team is Team Elevation. What's it like to train with them?
Elevation guys are awesome. That gym is phenomenal. Even like last night, I was out. Me and Matt Browne are out watching the UFC fights last night. Some amazing talent in that gym. Curtis Blaydes is one of my main partners, and Joshua Copeland. Curtis has been doing pretty good in the UFC. He's a great wrestler, so that helps as far as my ground game, especially with my last fight. He was a huge asset to the training of my last fight. And then Josh is a good striker and just an excellent guy, so he helps all around. Yesterday I went down to Colorado Springs and trained with Jeremy Kimball. Jeremy's a friend of mine that I met at Lab in Arizona. But Jeremy's a 205 or UFC, really unorthodox striker, and he's about the same size as my opponent, so that works out really well too.
Yeah, that puts a good advantage for you on that. You had an amazing TKO win. That is your strong point. As you mentioned, you like to strike, and, the fans like to see you strike. But let's take a look back at that first-round TKO. It was an amazing fight at VFC 55 last December. Can you break that down for us?
I've known Derek. We've been in the same circles, I guess, for a long time because he was in the Kansas City area. I was in, a little farther west, in like the Topeka area. So, that fight was a long time coming. We always got along really well, and, it was strictly business. Everybody knew that I was the striker and he was the grappler, so as long as I didn't get taken down, I was going to be okay. That's kind of how it played out. I had Curtis Blaydes, who's a national champ wrestler, was my main partner. We went over to wrestling and against the cage and take down defense and the whole thing. And that's not the first camp I've done that for. So I was able to avoid getting taken down and land a good shot.
Mm-hmm. How did you get started in MMA?
So I grew up in a town of about 500 people. So fighting was just kind of boys being boys, and just take it outside and no crying kind of thing. So that was growing up. And then you had the Jean-Claude Van Damme was big, and Steven Seagal was big, and Wesley Snipes was big, and Ninja Turtles, and all these other things, the aspects that the media, I guess, the TV, put in some of these kids' minds, including mine. So that's kind of, I guess, where it blossomed. And then my dad was kind of a big, like a hellion too, I guess. Like he was a little rough around the edges. And I was working on the road, had a really dangerous job. I used to work on cell phone towers, and I thought I was going to be a dad. So I decided that the most dangerous job in America wasn't for me if I was going to be a dad. So I got a job more locally, and I saw a guy in the gym. Like I started going to the gym pretty often, just stress relief and to vent, get rid of that negative energy. And I saw a guy in the gym that I knew from high school, and I had known that he had fought and stuff, and he invited me up to his camp. Or Scott Eston's his name. He invited me up to his camp to train. I was like, it's not going to hurt anything. I can go up there, get in decent shape, and continue to release some stress. So I did. After 6 months or so, I got offered a fight, and I was doing pretty good against guys in the gym that were competing. Like we were all pretty good, pretty close-knit group. So I took the fight, and I won, and it kind of went from there.
So we have some amazing photos of you in the mountains of Colorado. Do you like to hike?
Yeah, I like to hike a lot. Hiking is great cardio. It's good to get out and kind of be one with nature and get away from, the people and the concrete and the noise and the messiness for a little while. I think it helps with enlightenment and focus and whatnot. And it's great fat loss. Like I said, it's great cardio, so I actually incorporate that into my training schedule.
Do you miss Hawaii, by the way? Because I know we spoke earlier and you're used to hike in Hawaii.
I miss some aspects of Hawaii. I live on Oahu, which is very, very populated. I prefer desolate areas to high population areas. So the population in Hawaii and I don't want to make Hawaii sound bad because it really is a beautiful place with some amazing people, but the products of the environment there, I guess, the homelessness and the issues that Hawaii has, I don't miss any of that at all whatsoever. I don't have any intention of moving on Colorado, but I do can guarantee trips to Hawaii. It's an amazing place to visit. I want to check out Big Island and Kauai and the other islands too, Maui, because I never made it off of Oahu. That was the only place I was at. But
Daniel, anything else you want to add today, and how can we follow you on social media?
As far as social media goes, I'm on my Instagram is big_Kansas. My Facebook is facebook.com/bigkansas. And then my Twitter, I'm not on Twitter very much, but my Twitter is bigkansas65. So I can be followed anywhere on there. I'm pretty accessible on Facebook as well. Instagram too, some, but not as much because my notifications are pretty substantial on Instagram.
It's good to be loved, Daniel, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes. It gets overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, I know, because you're training all the time as well. Daniel Gallemore, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I wish you good luck on your fight in VFC 57 on May 5th. And listen up, MMA fans, you can catch that fight on UFC Fight Pass.